Now, it most certainly is cold this morning in the workshop because the fire struggled to start, or I struggled to start it, and the temperature was about 2 degrees below zero when I looked earlier. So I sit in the cold to organize my thoughts. Several interesting things crossed through my mind. I've been removed from coffee, and I think the way in which it happened, or coffee has been removed from me. The way in which it happened is interesting, I think. I only realized it recently, momentarily actually. Um, I had my customary shot of espresso this morning, a healthy shot, and I was thinking, or unhealthy, depending on one's perspective. And I was thinking of having another, and I had a pain in my belly, and I thought this wouldn't be. This was a time when it would be better, probably this morning, to have a herbal tea rather than a second espresso to see if that would calm the pain, the discomfort. And as I tidied the kitchen, I cleaned the kitchen this morning, which was long overdue. And I need to clean the whole house, but I have work also. But as I was cleaning the kitchen, I started gathering together some coffee pots that I'd purchased or burnt or destroyed over the past really month. I had a month in which I think I managed to destroy 2 coffee pots by leaving them on the flame and forgetting that I was brewing coffee, and ultimately the pot will become unusable. And so I purchased another 2 other coffee pots at some expense on the internet. And the first one was too big, and I put it aside. And the second one, which I thought was a suitable size, is also rather large and is a hopeless piece of equipment. And I've tried it a couple of times, and it's just dud. And that was quite expensive too. So I don't know whether one can send these things back. I don't like to do that, I mean, they've taken the trouble to send them to me. My own stupidity has led me to purchase these things when the Spirit is clearly telling me that coffee is something that I need to, that is not for me at the moment anyway. I just give that as I think it's an interesting example of how the Spirit can can be so easily ignored. Such was my conviction that I needed my coffee or whatever, and I just failed to respond, and I suddenly saw it. And now, because I've seen it, I can eliminate or reduce or whatever is necessary my consumption of coffee without having to impose my will, because I choose to believe that the episode with the coffee pots constitutes a sort of a message from the other side, almost a spiritual message. This is how it seems to be moving in the spirit realm. And as I cleaned the kitchen this morning, of course, I was reminded of the time when I had a cleaning lady who was a witch. And I thought about the fact that my indolence in having a cleaning lady, of course, or having anybody to do the cleaning for you, it relieves you of the duty of doing the cleaning. But I was on my hands and knees and cleaning the floor of the kitchen, and of course the movements that are involved in doing that are actually quite healthy. To do that from time to time. Cleaning is a form of gymnastics, the reaching and the crouching and everything that's involved. So I was there are upsides and downsides to having a helper. And I thought about the reasons why I had originally asked her to come and clean the house. And it wasn't because I needed the house cleaning. It was because I wanted some company. And I was interested in having her company in particular because I had set my eyes upon her some years beforehand. And I was quite taken. So such is the iniquity of man, and my own iniquity, of course. And so I invited a witch into the house, and I asked her not to do any witchcraft when she was in my house. But of course, that's a vain request, because her spirit cannot be controlled by rational demands as such as that, any more than my spirit. My allegiance to my king can be suspended momentarily. It can't be. My nature accompanies me, unwittingly, really, because I'm only in conscious control of a certain portion of it. And she was magnificent in her role when she came. She was immaculate, in actual fact, in her conduct. And I was completely overcome, gradually, artfully. And I fell into the abyss. And then she was equally magnificent in her disdain, absolutely perfect in her ways. So I gradually become to view her as a very great warrior. Although we have different allegiance, I do believe that. We have different allegiance, but nonetheless, as I've mentioned beforehand, enemies are to be respected in the world of knowledge. They should never be dismissed summarily. Not in the spiritual realm, or one can make some very grave errors. So the blow that I received with her rejection pushed me into a state of tremendous indulgence and desperation, and I languished for several months. But gradually I began to see that my state of indulgence and desperation was simply a way of looking, a way of seeing, which I had chosen. And so I had chosen this stasis and this uselessness and these feelings, and I had almost decided to suspend my activities to indulge. And once I'd seen that, of course, I understood that I have a level of control over my perception, quite a high level of control, actually, although not complete, because there is a spirit world which is out with my rationality and control, ultimately. I don't want to, I can't control it, and I mustn't even dream of it. It is the very hand of God. So with that realization, I think, it didn't strike me straight away, but gradually I began to apply the same reasoning to all other parts of my life. And I kind of spun off. So the blow of the witch was my release from the web of blindness, I suppose, that had been holding me, that had been preventing me from seeing. So, of course, not only was she a magnificent adversary, but also, as very often occurs, a great ally. Such are my thoughts in the very cold air of the workshop this morning. And may our Lord and Master, Jesus Christ, be praised and worshipped this day of the sun, and may his power and his life and his light shine in our lives and in our hearts and in our families and in our communities forever, burning ever more brightly.